we have a flood, a wave of immigration within the last decades from Muslim countries. What we are seeing in these cultures now is that people who are descendants or who are children of immigrant families who come from Muslim culture, and from Muslim families and Muslim cultures that are very much religious, much closer to the Islamic sense of morality than the Western sense of morality, happen to be also the ones who are disproportionately representative in homicides, in crimes, in other crimes, in burglary, in rape, in gang rape. You can say that I'm just making an assertion without proving it. I will not be able to prove it, maybe, I don't know. But people who are familiar with Muslim culture know exactly that in Muslim culture, men, are extremely intolerant when it comes to tolerating very basic sexual needs. These people resort to things like talking about sex with animals, for example, which is a commonly known, very common talk in Muslim culture, where you can talk about having sex with a donkey, or having sex with a camel, or having sex with a cow, for example. Why they want to jump on every woman, it just doesn't work. This is not natural. There is no way to justify this. There is no way to argue that this is what peace is, and this is how you provide peace, and then to argue that you should crack down on people's basic desires. This doesn't work. It has never worked, which is why Islamic societies are failing, cracking. It doesn't work. I don't understand how you're getting there, how you can justify this.
Got it all out?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I think that a lot of what you're saying is based on a very extreme right-wing narrative of immigrants as rapists. Let me finish. Let me finish. Okay, I let you speak your mind. Okay, I think that a lot of what you're saying is based on an extreme right-wing anti-immigrant narrative. And I think I can dispute pretty much all of these kinds of statistics that you're alluding to without actually citing. But I'll just make it easier for you. I'll make it very easy. I'll concede. Okay, you're right. Some of these immigrants, they are engaging in crime more. They are engaging in sexual assault more than the native population. Disproportionately. I'll concede. Let me just concede that, even though I question the factual basis of that. But just for the sake of argument, I'll concede all of those things. It has a very clear explanation, right? Because these people are coming from traditional societies with bottom-up order, social cohesion based on family values, traditional values. And they're coming to countries that don't have those structures. They're coming to societies that are atomized as individuals separated from their families, separated from extended families, right? And of course, that's going to lead to chaos. Of course, this is like going fish out of water, right? Because the only way that the West is able to maintain order without these traditional structures is through conditioning, okay? Psychologically conditioning from a young age children to act in accordance with the dictates of the nation state through a massive educational structure and conditioning through media, through the status quo, constantly. That's the only reason there's order in the West, is because of this top-down system. Think about it, right? A child born in the West, from the minute that he steps into the world, he's being controlled by an institution, because children are born in a hospital system that has regulations, hospital system that will immediately grab the child, weigh it, measure it, inject it, right? The child is maybe a couple of months with the mother. Then she has to go back to work, right? She's a strong, independent woman. She goes back to the workplace. That baby has to go to another institution, daycare. It's not even a year old and is already being institutionalized until preschool and then kindergarten and then primary school, high school. All institutions, 40 hours a week, right? With strangers, individuals that have no relation to him, no blood relation, not family, not father and mother, in those kinds of institutions. Then he goes to college, then he gets a job, then he lives and works in this corporate system, sucking out his life from him, right? Going 40 hours, 50 hours a week to work. and then coming home, he doesn't have a real marriage because, look, you have Tinder. Why even bother with commitment? Why bother with a marriage? Just sit in front of your laptop or the computer or TV, watch Netflix, watch Game of Thrones, then order on Uber Eats, order your food. And that's the modern existence, living in your little apartment, working and paying rent, day after day after day after day. This is the modern existence. Then you get to a certain age. Your kids, if you have maybe 1.2 children, as is the average fertility rate in the Western world, maybe they care about you, maybe not. You practically don't know them. How could you when they're in their institution and you're in your own corporate world? Then you get to a certain age of becoming elderly. You have to be put in a home, and you're sitting and rotting away trying to live the rest of your days again in front of the TV. And then you die, and if you die in your own apartment, no one will even know that you're dead, because your kids aren't visiting you. You don't have a wife. You've been divorced for 30 years, and this is so common. Individuals, elderly, dying by themselves in their apartment, that there are entire industries for cleaning it out, because the only way that anyone knows that you're dead is the stench of your corpse wafts into the apartment building, and your neighbors notice the stench, and they call these cleaning companies to come in and clean up your decaying corpse, because you've been there for 3 months. That is let me finish. You painted your picture of immigrant rapists. Let me paint a picture for you. Okay? This is modern life. This is the atomized existence in the nation state. Okay? This is what liberalism wants for people. This is what liberalism is trying to impose on the entire globe. Okay? And they're being successful because of people like you. But people like you who are propagandists against Islam, advocating this kind of liberal freedom. Oh, you're so free. You can sit in front of Netflix and order Uber Eats. So much freedom. Just pursue your dreams. Right? Your college loans, you have $100,000 in, no, let me finish. You have $100,000 in college loans that you have to pay off. So you have to work some soulless job so you can make enough money because you're so far in debt. You can't depend on a stable, loving relationship because all of society is pounding into your head that you have sexual freedom. You need to be active, sexually active. And you're consuming all of this media that glorifies fornication and adultery. You have a system that's telling women that, oh, you shouldn't be tied down by a man. You're independent. You're an independent woman. Okay? You need to spread your wings, right? Yeah, this is a dystopia, man. This is a dystopia. This is worse. George Orwell couldn't have imagined the kind of dystopia that we're living in. Okay, that's how crazy it is. That's been normalized. It's all part of the liberal, atomized nation-state plan. Islam is the alternative to this. Islam is the alternative to this. And when you mentioned, you mentioned some point. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Crime is not the only stat, right?
Nobody in the world, when we think of the average Western person, nobody in the world thinks that knows or thinks that in the West you just get old and then you die forgotten in a building. And
of course they don't think that, because you're in a system that is telling you that no, this is beautiful and normal. But that's the reality. I describe the reality, not people's perception.
Excuse me, this is not a reality. This is a very extreme case. Nobody thinks that because that's not something that exists.
We'll let the audience decide. We'll let the viewers decide. Increase your faith in Islam with unapologetic answers to these kinds of doubts, then consider enrolling at Alesta Institute.